That's just the way it is.
As a debacle surrounding the Epstein files continues to cycle through the media, regardless of what is proven, alleged, or quietly buried, one thing has become impossible to ignore. The disparity in this world across class, caste, and race is not subtle. It's visible, it's patterned, and it's familiar. And as I listen to people respond to it, I keep hearing the same sentence spoken almost word for word. I hear it at kitchen tables, in courtrooms, on the streets. I hear it in boardrooms, at construction sites, at sporting events, as well as funerals. That's just the way it is. But I want you to take notice what happens when that sentence is spoken. The room goes quiet. Not because there's nothing left to say, but because everyone knows exactly what it means. It's the moment conversation gives way to resignation, the moment outrage turns into endurance, the moment curiosity collapses into explanation. It's not that people don't feel the injustice, it's that they've learned to live with it, and living with something long enough starts to feel like understanding it. That sentence doesn't explain the world. It ends the conversation. We say it when rent rises faster than wages, when entire neighborhoods decay while a few towers shine, when corruption gets rebranded as politics, when suffering becomes predictable. That's just the way it is. We told some people are always poor, some communities are always violent, some nations are always unstable, some lives are always expendable, not because it's natural, not because it's inevitable, but because it's familiar. That's just the way it is. But pause for a moment, because every time that sentence is spoken, something dangerous happens. Responsibility disappears. Design gets mistaken for destiny, and man-made systems are treated like natural law. But destiny doesn't require accountability. Destiny doesn't have architects. Destiny doesn't have beneficiaries. But design does. Design has fingerprints. Design has intentions. Design produces predictable outcomes. And when we call design destiny, we quietly absolve those who benefit and blame those who suffer, as if someone didn't draw the borders, as if someone didn't write the policies, as if someone didn't benefit from the outcomes, as if this all just happened. That's just the way it is. No, that's the way it was set up. Set up through history, through conquest dressed as civilization, through exploitation dressed as economics, through control dressed as order. And every generation that inherits the damage is told the same thing. Don't question it. Don't resist it. Don't imagine beyond it. That's just the way it is. But look closer. When a system punishes the poor for survival while insulating the powerful from consequence, that's just the way it is. When laws move swiftly for the powerless and stall when they approach wealth, that's just the way it is. When whole populations are over-policed and over-incarcerated while simultaneously being under-educated and under-resourced, that's just the way it is. When exploitation crosses borders, extracts values, leaves ruin behind and calls it development, that's just the way it is. But at some point, that sentence stops being an observation and becomes a confession. A confession that we've accepted a structure we no longer believe in. A confession that we've mistaken endurance for virtue. A confession that survival has replaced imagination. Because here's the truth most people avoid. The system doesn't survive because it works. It survives because we've been trained to stop asking whether it should. Most systems don't need belief to survive. They need habit. They don't need loyalty. They need compliance. And compliance doesn't come from agreement. It comes from exhaustion. When people are tired enough, adaptation starts to feel like wisdom. And resignation starts to feel like peace. That's just the way it is. That phrase is not neutral. It's a psychological handcuff. A handcuff that doesn't crush you. It restricts you. It doesn't take your life. It limits your movement. And over time, you stop testing its strength, not because it's unbreakable, but because you've adjusted your life around it. That's how language becomes a cage, not through force, but through repetition. It's how the abnormal gets normalized. It's how injustice becomes routine. It's how people adapt to cages instead of asking who built them. And the most dangerous part is this. We repeat it to ourselves. Parents pass it on to their children. Teachers say it to students. Leaders whisper it in the public until the imagination collapses. Until different sounds unrealistic. Until otherwise sounds naive. Until change feels irresponsible. That's just the way it is. But if something was constructed, it can be deconstructed. If something was designed, it can be redesigned. And if a system produces harm by default, then accepting it isn't realism, it's participation. Let me say that again. If a system produces harm by design, then surrendering to it is not wisdom. It is compliance. And history has never been changed by people who accepted the way it is. Every meaningful shift, every expansion of dignity, every rupture of injustice, every imagining of human worth came from people who refused that sentence. These were the people who said, no, this isn't natural. This isn't sacred. This isn't inevitable. This can change. So maybe the real question isn't why the world is the way it is. Maybe the real question is, why have we accepted it for so long? Because the moment we stop saying that's just the way it is the moment responsibility returns. Responsibility is uncomfortable because it means we can't just point outward anymore. It means asking what we've normalized, what we've excused, what we've repeated without resistance. Not because we believed in it, but because it felt safer than standing alone. Not just responsibility for governments, not just responsibility for institutions, but for us, for our thinking, our values, our courage, our willingness to imagine something better and refuse to apologize for it. Because the world doesn't stay broken due to lack of intelligence. It stays broken because resignation has been mistaken for maturity. That lie, beloved, that quiet, comfortable, inherited lie is the one we can no longer afford to repeat. Not now, not anymore. Because when we say that's just the way it is, we're not describing reality. We're ratifying it. We sign in our names on the conditions we didn't create but choose not to challenge. That sentence is not passive. It is permission. Permission for the harm to continue. Permission for the imbalance to remain. Permission for tomorrow to look exactly like today. And that's the part we don't like to face. The system doesn't only exist because of those who designed it. It exists because of those who learned to live inside it and call that learning acceptance. So maybe that's just the way it is, isn't the truth around the world at all. Maybe it's the moment we agree to stop insisting that it could be otherwise. And if that's the case, then the way it is isn't something imposed on us, but something we've been consenting to.
That's just the way it
This is a sacred curriculum. Lesson complete. Now, remember what you are.